We are preparing to live stream the meeting. Right, and there will be like there's like a 20-second delay on YouTube, but
okay.
YouTube's getting a waste. I see the live indicator, so it says live.
You showed us that cute outfit, Lisa.
All right, I think we're there. Can anybody double check? Anybody want to check? There. Look at all the things.
It says live now.
Yeah, it says live on YouTube.
All right. I'm gonna hi everyone joining us right now. In just a second, we're gonna jump into the full launch party for Lisa B. Thompson's new play collection.
This is crazy. I'm trying something
but
new.
I'm gonna double check that we're actually live and y'all are all seeing us right now. So if you are out there, thank you. Thank you for being with us.
You too. It's just crazy. So
I'm Laura Toner Haddock, the producing artistic director, co-producing artistic director at Austin Playhouse. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all to this live stream launch party for Ms. Doctor. I'm going to say doctor. You're going to have to just forgive me this one time. Lisa B. Thompson's new play collection, which we are all so excited to be celebrating today. All right, someone else riff while I double check all the things. Mr. Mark Coupe, you've been involved in a couple of these productions.
I've been involved in a couple, yeah.
What makes a Lisa B. Thompson play so special?
They are intelligent, they are entertaining, they are realistic. You know who the characters are the moment that they step on the stage or step off the page. Underground in particular is probably the most important play that I've been a part of in the last 5 years, and Lisa's very prescient for everything that was going on before, during, and after that time in 2017. So, and Monroe is a great harkening back to the Jim Crow South, but also how it still affects us, and the wounds of emotional and racial trauma still affect us today. So, not to get too serious, but drink.
Cheers. We are joined right now with some fantastic artistic collaborators of Lisa's in Austin. And I'd love for them to introduce themselves. And then throughout this live stream, some other folks will probably be jumping on. Big spoiler, if I think Florinda's maybe able to make it, and it is her birthday. So if she does make it on, we are going to make a big old deal about it also being her birthday for just a minute. India, you want to kick us off with where you've worked with Lisa?
Yeah, I worked with Lisa on the Ground Floor Theater's production of Single Black Female. I was the assistant director and the costume person, and then unofficial dramaturge. So yeah, it was really great. So, but my first encounter though was seeing Monroe, actually. Because I've only lived in Austin about 3 years now. So I saw Monroe, and then my friend was like, oh, the playwright's over there. And I saw this fabulous, amazing woman with this red lip and all of this. And I was like, oh my God, that's her. And I was really, really nervous to try, to introduce myself. And so then when I met her later, I was like, she is exactly the way she writes. It is her. She is funny and smart and quick, and that is absolutely what is reflected in her work. And it is just really, really cool to be in her orbit anytime I'm lucky to be there.
Agreed. And we did a podcast that went live yesterday. Austin Playhouse did with another group of artistic collaborators, and I'm never surprised, but I'm always impressed at the group that Lisa gathers around her. These warm-hearted, generous, crazy talented people that all just want to come together to create the best work that they can do to honor her words. Yeah, Austin Playhouse produced Monroe, which is one of the 3 plays in that's being published right now. It won our 2018 Festival of New American Plays, and we announced that evening when we did the play reading that we were going to be doing, that we wanted to do the world premiere of it. It was, and that's what Lisa does. It's just instantly you want to be involved. You want to be part of that magic. So thank you. We are being joined right now by another amazing Lisa, Lisa Sheps from Ground Floor Theater, who produced the play Single Black Female that India was just speaking about. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you. Cheers to you, Lisa B. Thompson. I have a special martini in your honor.
I'm drinking a green hour, which is about as close to Monroe as I could get thematically. It's a little more New Orleans. We've got some absinthe and gin going on here. I made rosemary simple syrup. It's delightful. I'm sorry you all can't have one, but
oh, everybody's frozen. That must be my problem.
Simone, I would love for you to talk a little bit about how you have interacted with Lisa. What's your...
Yeah, I'm also fairly new to town, like India. I think we both moved around the same time, 2017. But I have had the pleasure of seeing Lisa's work. I saw Monroe, I've seen Single Black Female. All of them are just amazing work. I saw the Mamalogues. I feel like what I love about Lisa's work is that I'm seeing all of these Black women that I see in my everyday life. And you don't get to see that on stage every day, unfortunately. And I feel like Lisa is just so honest and so true about her work. And I love that. I feel like me getting to know Lisa is very, very recent as well. We also have a podcast that we had Lisa on to talk about the book and talk about the new play dinner at the Road Theater's Summer Festival. And I'm just so happy to be a part of this kind of community, especially in Austin, that champions new work and champions playwriting here. I think that's so important to have, a really flourishing theater community that champions artists, and we can have, world premieres in our own backyards, and we can work with great playwrights like Lisa.
So can you mention your theater company? Let everybody know, about your theater. I'm the producing artistic director of New Manifest Theater Company. We're in our second season. We're actually right in the middle of trying to produce our annual short play festival, but virtually. So all of these new Zoom, YouTube lives, it's the new world and we're all learning it. Absolutely. Lisa, how difficult has it been for the past week or so to have everybody just gushing over you? Are you holding up okay? Are you able to handle that?
It's been just so much a struggle for me because I am shy and withholding and emotionally unavailable. So it's been, but honestly, what's been poignant about it, one is I feel incredibly grateful to have moved to this town in 2012 in the summer. July was our anniversary, and to feel like I made a life in a community that is rich and complex and caring and wonderful. And the other piece of it is the people that brought me to this place in my life, which thinking about my parents and my mom who's from Monroe and my dad who's from Lake Charles, and my journey, the reverse Great Migration that I'm part of, and feeling during the pandemic mostly very close to them and what the things they, going back to all those lessons that they taught me, and I was a hard-headed kid and didn't want to listen to, but feeling their joy in this moment too for me, because they always encouraged and supported my their crazy kid who was making, always wanted to tell stories. And I remember they had some party they had, how the kids are dancing at the party, and they put on, I think it was Marvin Gaye's What's Going On was out, and I remember us dancing, and someone said, well, you can't spend your whole life dancing, what do you want to be? And I was very young, and I said, I want to be a writer. And they were like, how often do people, a little, dark skinned, skinny girl, take claim to that under 10 years old? And It's been an interesting journey, and I used to think of being a scholar as being something that I used to joke around, but I went into the academia because I didn't want to be a starving artist, and I wanted to have healthy health care and food. But I realized that I see my intellectual work and my artistic work as being one and the same. There's scholarship in the creativity, and there's creativity in the scholarship. And I'm learning to embrace that part more. So this has been a moment for me to completely celebrate getting to this place and thinking about what I want to do next. But right now I'm taking this collection means so much to me. And I want to thank the people that encouraged me to actually submit it. And I was thinking, submit your plays as a collection and to find that there were more than one publisher who wanted to do it. I mean, so it's also about me sharing with other folks to think, sometimes you create your own ceilings and you create your own limitations, and you need people around you, as Laura was talking about, who are credible and loving and supportive, who remind you of what you are and who you are and what you can do. So I wanted to give a shout out to Ricardo Bracho, who's out there watching, and E. Patrick Johnson, who also stepped in and wrote the foreword, and to Joan Morgan. And beyond that, everyone's going crazy, mostly about the cover, because they haven't read it yet. And they're like, oh my God, so the cover is done. The cover image was a gift of Deborah Roberts, amazing visual artist who was taking the world by storm, literally. And I'm fortunate enough to be a collector of her work, and was honored that she was allowed to, one of her images to be on my book. So this is my third book, and the second time I've had a Black woman artist on my first book has a cover art by Allison Sarr. So I'm just feeling very grateful.
That's awesome. I'm gonna share my screen for just a second so everyone can see. These are the 3 production posters from the 3 plays that are included in the collection, along with the website for Northwestern University Press, which is how you order the book. I highly recommend this. I first encountered Lisa's plays not live on stage, but just on the page. Monroe was submitted to one of our new play festivals, and the characters leap off the page. And if you want to, I'm going to stop sharing for a second. If you want to really, many plays, I think when you see them live, it is a completely different experience, whatever you do with a live play. But as people have spoken before, and in our previous podcast, and I've seen other interviews, and Mark was speaking to this in the podcast, the arguments, the intellectual rigor ideas that she brings to life, it's there on the page. And that's what we saw when we were looking at Monroe. We were so engaged in it, and we're going to give everyone a second in a minute to talk about. I'm going to slow down on my green hour, y'all. There's not much gone, but clearly. So when I read the final moment of Monroe is one of my favorite final moments of any play. And it's just so brilliant when you see a playwright stick the landing like that. And you just, those final words there, and it just, I wanted to cheer when I read that. And I won't say it right now, even though I have those lines memorized. So get the book and have this in your life, have it on your table. I was going through a lot this fall, and so I didn't get to see the Mamalogues live. So I really enjoyed reading it here. I saw the video version of Underground, and then reading it again, and reading page 30 to 31, y'all. That confrontation speaks so clearly to the present moment and to what conversations that are crucial right now. Anyway, all right, that's enough for me right now. Lisa Shefts, you produced Single Black Female, which was one of the first plays of Lisa's to be produced, to have full productions. Produced that, and you're on track for her next play, Dinner. So you want to talk about what you respond to in Lisa's work?
Well, first of all, we are so excited. I do want to share one quick story. The first time, and you're talking about how Lisa's words leap from the page, but one of the things that she brings to every piece of her work is her, and that's so important. And the first time I met Lisa B. Thompson was when she was on my radio show on Co-op Radio, Offstage and on the Air. I didn't know who she was. She came into the studio like a whirlwind, and I said, "Hi, Lisa Thompson," and she said, "Lisa B. Thompson." And I went, okay. But she did it in such a way that just made me want to grab hold of her and bring her into my life in such a visceral way. And at that time, that was probably 2-3 years ago, I had no idea that we would have the honor of producing her work on stage. And that honor was just 3- and 4-fold. Single Black Female was a wonderful piece, and we were really honored to be able to do it. Again, it was one of her first pieces, and we kind of gave it not a modern spin, but we brought it into life and to life on ground floor theater stage. I'm so looking forward to Dinner. That every time I read it, and when I saw the reading that was done out in LA, I just am very, very excited and currently slated for next season. And then I will say that, and I will tell this to you, Lisa B, as I call you, to differentiate you from myself. I'm also reading a play that she's hoping to bring to the theater that's not hers, called Dot, which I am so in love with right now. So there's just so much that I like and respect about Lisa's work. And Dinner is a new telling of Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. And I will have to show my ignorance here as a white person in this country that clearly is not in tune to things that I should be in tune to. When Matrix Kilgore brought Dinner to me, I read it, and other than the link to Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, I said, Matrix, you have to tell me what's special about this piece, because it's just a beautiful play about people in their lives. And he said to me, Lisa, Black people don't see that every day. And I went, say no more, I totally get it now. And we're entering a time in our life where we're able to see people of color, BIPOC people, trans people, LGBTQ people taking on people of a certain age that are taking on roles and lives that are meaningful, have value, and aren't tokenized. And Lisa's work brings that to the Austin audience. And I'll shut up in a second, but I'll gush just a little bit more. I'm so proud to have Lisa in the Austin, Texas community, someone of her renown. I'm embarrassed that I'm not nearly as smart as her, but I love talking to her and feeding off of her energy. So Lisa, thank you. You're here on my screen. I'm pointing at you. Thank you so much for gracing Austin with your work, with your energy, and with the gift of you bringing your work to a local audience. I think that's so important.
Thank you.
Oh, I want to be invited to opening night on Broadway. Hopefully it's a ground floor theater production, but if it's not, I still want to be there.
If you're on this call right now, you're invited, right? That's the rule. That's how it works, I think.
I do want to say something about the way in which theater, one of my jobs right now is to change the conversation so that we talk about regional theater, we're not just talking about LORCs, we're talking about people in theaters like Austin Playhouse and Ground Floor and the Vortex doing work that matters. And if it's not being done in New York or off Broadway, on Broadway, that's still important theater, and that's important to me so I appreciate that, and I would like hopefully for us to be able to have the resources so that folks can do the work in the conditions that they want to do it in. And I'm looking forward to the new building that the Austin Playhouse is building. So if you came through their website, if you have a desire to help get that building up, that would be fantastic. And then one more thing too about the play that I sent Lisa, chefs, we're Lisa, by the way, is Dot by Coleman Domingo. And I wanted to shout out to Coleman Domingo, who is a dear friend and who was the first person to direct my work in San Francisco. He directed the world premiere of Single Black Female, and he has directed a reading, a private reading or public reading of each play in this collection. He did the Underground and Monroe excerpts from both of them at the New York State Writers Institute in Albany, New York. And he directed one of the Mamalogues at Harvard. And so wherever I go, you know, I'm like, come, let's go play. And I'm just grateful to him. He's super busy, you know, acting, directing, producing now. He has youth productions just started. So, but I wanted to, I'm excited about being able to perhaps direct, because Lisa asked me out the cuff, what would you, if you wanted to direct something, what would it be? And it just came out, Coleman Domingo's Dot, because it's a play about Black women aging as a characters who are the world that which he knows and I know, people who are of multiple different races and different sexualities. And it also deals with Alzheimer's, and it's something that was inspired by my mom's own story. So it's really dear to me in that way. So hopefully I can do it justice if I get the chance to direct it.
It's a brilliant play. Coleman Domingo made it to the reading of Monroe and the new play festival at Austin Playhouse, and we were all abuzz in the office when we found out that he might be there. Jess Hughes, who was our marketing manager at the time, was a big, and she introduced me to Dot, the play, because she had been an intern at Actors Theater of Louisville when it was done there. So told me, so she was a huge fan, and rightfully so. And so we were all very intimidated. And then he got lost on the way to the Playhouse, and I had to kind of talk him in. And you get less intimidated when you have to just. And our theater is not easy to find. It's awful. It was. We're looking forward to a new theater that's on a major interstate frontage road, and we'll have an actual address, so everyone will be able to find it. But we were very, very excited that he was able to make that reading for us. Huck Huckabee is back with us. Huck has one of my favorite stories of being involved with. He was in our production of Monroe. Huck, you wanna let him know how you did the reading, and then
yeah, absolutely. Said we did this in 2018. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Years ago? Yeah.
Yes.
In the spring of 2018, Laura called me and said, we're doing the new festival of play readings, and I've got a couple of roles for you. I don't know which one to put you in. One of them's a pretty big role, and another one just one scene in one show. I said, doesn't matter to me, whichever one you want. So she put me in Lisa's show in Monroe, and I got the script, and I read the script, and my scene was like the second scene in the show, and I was done. I didn't read the rest of the script. Said, I'm done. I'm going to be surprised to what's going on. So after we had a read through at the theater, and I read my scene. I just didn't really pay attention to what was going on. And then the second time we had a read through, before we had to do the show, I really listened to what was going on, and I got chill bumps like time after time after scene after scene after scene. And the night of the show came, or the reading came before an audience, and we did the first act, and I did a lot of the staged directions and stuff like that because I had the smallest part in the show, which was fine. But we got finished with Act 1, went backstage for intermission, and came back for Act 2, understanding the wings and the audience is just buzzing. It's buzz. I'd never heard that kind of energy before at a reading specifically, or even at a show. The audience was just buzzing. At the end of the performance, the audience just leapt up, absolutely leapt up to their feet and was just going crazy. And all of us that were on stage knew that we were doing something really, really special. And when Laura called me 2 or 3 months later, well, we knew that night that we were going to be doing the show on the season, but she called later on, a couple of months later, and said, "You want to do the show?" I said, "Let me think about it." Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Even though it was just one little scene for me, it gave me so much. Now, I don't do a lot of original productions. This is like only the 4th or 5th one I've done. And working with Lisa was like mind-blowing. She's got so much energy and so much positivity towards what she's doing. And she's so smart. She's just incredibly smart. And I've enjoyed working with her. And there was a couple of nights during the run of the show where she had to be on stage. One of the actresses couldn't make it. And so Lisa had to be on stage for a couple of performances. And I've never seen anyone more nervous in my life. She was so nervous. But
I couldn't remember the lines. I couldn't remember.
Damn playwright. Who wrote this stuff? Yeah. But that's my Lisa story. And I love you, Lisa. And your book is on the way. I've ordered it. It's on the way to me. And I can't wait to read the other 2 shows.
Bless you.
Thanks.
And
we have also been joined by Valenicia Tolbert, who has, hi, she was in the ground floor theater production of Single Black Female, as well as the Mamalogues at the Vortex. I'd love for you to introduce yourself and let folks know what you've gotten from this experience on working on 2 of Lisa's plays.
Oh, absolutely. I love it. Hi, Lisa. Congratulations. No, one of the best things about, and I think I was talking about this before, is I hadn't had the privilege of being able to act as a Black woman similar to myself on stage before. I've been cast like colorblind cast, or I've played people a lot older than me or a lot younger. But that really beautiful pocket of being able to play someone 30 to 40 age group, there's just not a lot of realistic pieces written by women of color that I've gotten to do. So that in and of itself was an honor. But even being in one of her original pieces like Mamalogues, where everything is brand new, watching how her mind works and watching how she's creating on the spot, and she has this beautiful script, but her being so willing to say like, I don't like how that's working. Here's a new page, but it would be something that made absolute sense. And she watches what each actor brings to the table, and she starts incorporating that into what she's creating. And it's this beautiful, it's just a beautiful, joyful experience. I don't know how to phrase it another way, but I was terrified walking in because it's Lisa B. Thompson. You're like, oh, shoot. But there's just something so warm and like her demanding you be seen and demanding you be just same as she demands you be present. But she makes you, more importantly, comfortable to be present. So I think that's really a big deal, and it's really rare. And yeah, I love you for it. Thank you so much, Lisa.
No, thank you. And I agree. As a director, I've worked with several playwrights on new pieces, and you have to gauge really quickly. I think the other directors on the call can probably back me up on this, where the playwright's ego is. Like how much handling, how open are they, and in the kindest way, how open are they going to be to any adjustments? Or is the script that I'm given right now, is that set? And I need to know that really quickly. If it's a new piece, if it's a published piece, if this is the play, then that's great. That's what we're working with. But with Lisa, Monroe had been originally written almost 20 years before, more than 20 years before we did the reading, and she'd done some rewrites to it, but she was very open to getting the best piece on stage. This was, and I'll let Lisa can correct me on anything that I'm going wrong on right now, but it was the generosity and the alacrity, the swiftness with which you would adapt to changes. You'd say, yes, that makes sense. Let's do this. I'm going to rewrite this. Please put this over here. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to try to catch up. and then we're going to put that on the stage. And it was just a delight. It was just an absolute delight. And so thank you. I'm going to throw it to Marie for a second, because we have, as you all know, we are doing this live on Austin Playhouse's YouTube page, and a few folks are commenting, and I want to make sure that we address anything they're saying. Marie Falgren is our marketing manager over at Austin Playhouse.
Hi, you guys. I just wanted to say, Lisa, you're getting a lot of love on YouTube right now. I just wanted to throw out some names that are saying hi to you. I'm not sure if you have the screen open, so I just wanted to make sure you're seeing that. We got some love from Bernadette Nason, Mark Anthony, Ariel Jackson, Nicole F. I'm not sure. Do you know Nicole F? Christina Knight, Elizabeth Page, Samuel Biggers, Deb Knight, Babs George are all here saying hi. And there's lots of comments happening from them. So of course it'll be there. So you can reply later, but as they come in, I'll let you know. But lots of love coming your way.
Thanks, Marie. And I want to welcome Melody Fully Love, who has just joined us, who I don't know, but was part of the cast for the Mamalogues. Thank you so much for being here. Would you like to jump in and talk about what it was like working on one of Lisa's plays?
Okay.
Can you see where to unmute? I'll unmute you. I can do it.
Yeah.
Maybe I can't unmute you. If you can unmute yourself, you can.
Okay, I can't get
You're
my
done.
screen. I can't get
You're
my
great.
screen back. I don't know what's up. I've lost my. I hear you all, but I can't see you.
Well, we
You
can
go.
see you. And
Oh,
we
here
can
we
hear
are.
you.
Hey, what's up? Okay. Yeah, I was so excited to be a part of the Mamalogues for many reasons. Number one, because of Lisa's, I had heard a little bit about you. That doesn't sound right, but anyway, I had heard a little bit about you, and then I was glad to be able to work with such talent as Valenicia Tolbert. It was great to be able to express the different scenarios and struggles and obstacles and joys of motherhood through Lisa's play. And it's funny because that the role that I played is my alter ego. And so I was happy to be able to actually do it. I'm usually pretty laid back. People don't know that, but I usually am pretty laid back. But I was glad to be able to express all of the different characteristics that Tasha's character was allowed to do. And that was what was so ingenious about your play, Lisa, was that somehow you wrote it where even the characters that we morphed into were still pretty much the characters that I think the role represented. I just think that's so brilliant of you. And I just felt so honored being a part of that. And I would love to see more things like that. I'm actually working on some pieces myself, trying to write some one-act plays about women. Not necessarily the struggles, because those plays are out there, but just the crazy things that only women do. So I'm kind of working on some things, just to try to express all of the different places we come from. And then there's also a slave woman that I'm reading her, this whole prose, I guess you could say, of her, and I would like to try to do a one-woman show. You really have inspired me, Lisa, to be creative and to just move forward. And I just got my book, by the way. Yay.
I love
so
that.
yeah. So I think I came in on the end. I'm sorry I was late. I was getting new tires. And really very necessary.
And Rudy's here.
Huh?
Rudy's here.
Hey, Rudy.
Rudy just joined us.
All right.
I'm going to throw it to Rudy in a second, but I don't want to pass by. One of my favorite moments on this call so far was when Melody talked about the crazy things women do, and Mark was just like, mm-hmm. Because anybody missed that.
I mean, we do. I mean, it's like meeting a lady in the grocery store, and this is what really started my thinking. And this is when the COVID first came out, and there was nothing there, and there's all these different off brands of everything, and then all of a sudden we're talking about a recipe that we could come up with, and really, did you do that? I mean, only women do that. So I was just thinking of those different things that we just kind of morph into, Anyway.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Rudy Ramirez has just joined us. He is currently the Associate Artistic Director at the Vortex and about to depart. Are you leaving Austin, or are you going to be remote in the fall? Tell us what you're doing.
This fall, I will be remote.
Okay.
And I'll be working on some projects here. I've got actually like a residency at UT, which is really exciting. And so But
it's Boston. Where are you?
University of Massachusetts at Amherst.
Okay.
Is the one that I want to deciding on. It's a beautiful program. It's a beautiful place. I'm excited to be there.
Congratulations. I'm really happy for you and sad for Austin, as I'm sure many people are.
I will be back plenty of times. My mom lives here, so and I don't think I could have gone if I didn't know that I would still have a home here.
Excellent. Well, for those of y'all who, if you don't happen to know, Rudy Ramirez directed 2 of the plays that are in this collection. He directed Underground and the Mamalogues. So when you get that, he's very responsible for a lot of the fantastic work that was on the Austin stages, especially I think Underground was the first one to be produced, had the cover of the Chronicle, that gorgeous Chronicle cover that I'll never forget. I was on the cover of the Chronicle the same day I was arrested. That's a story I'll tell at a different time. Yeah, that is a true thing.
Nice.
So we're not going to talk about that right now. But this cover of the Chronicle was brilliant for Underground. And that I think is the play that a lot of people that brought Lisa's work to the attention of a lot of folks in Austin. But you knew her well before you did Underground. Can you speak to that a little?
Absolutely. So I was roped into, is a good word for it, I think, the performance studies program at the University of Texas, Performance is Public Practice. And to be honest, I was struggling while I was there because I came in really saying, it took me a long time to decide to be an artist. And so I'm going to stand by that. And every time you try to, I told him, every time you ask me to give up being an artist to be an academic, I will say no. And I will not think twice. And then at one point I was directing a piece for another PPP grad student, and our respondent was Lisa B. Thompson, who had just arrived recently at UT as a professor. And it was so wonderful just meeting her for the first time, this incredibly funny, fast-talking, brilliant woman who, with this incredible laugh that just dances into your memory and doesn't stop. And just and she was and is someone who absolutely believes that you should not have to choose between being an artist and a scholar, and that but someone who also recognizes that if you are in academia, you do have to fight to keep that artist identity. You do have to stake that claim, and so I don't think I would have gotten anywhere near as far in the program as I did get without Lisa as my mentor, because she was the person who supported me in that journey. And she supported me when I realized I have to step away from academia to be a full-time artist. And so you know, and I got to take her performing blackness class, which was incredible. And you know, we, as like, it's been wonderful to sort of see like what started out as sort of like a mentor situation has become this really awesome collaborative friendship where we're both, you know, working on producing things together and working on these projects. And it was recognizing that, like, so here's this amazing playwright who's arrived in Austin. All she needs is a venue, you know, and so to get underground at the Vortex was fantastic. To work with Mark and with Dustshade was wonderful. And so and you know, when not only do we get the Chronicle, but the entire run every night sold out, you know, and I hadn't seen that at the Vortex since we did an all ages show with a 19-person cast, you know, so that's already going to get you a whole lot of people coming in. You know, this was it spoke to the need and the hunger on the part of Austin audiences for work like Lisa's. And it was just, from then on, you know, anything that she wants to invite me on board for, I am up for.
We thank you. We spoke to this a little bit on the podcast. Lisa, what do you want to jump in with?
I want to have both of you here, the folks that I feel like collaborated, you know, with me to launch these 3 plays as productions is wonderful. So I've actually, if you see me going down, I'm texting people. I'm texting Rudy, like, can you hop on for a few minutes? I know he's busy, but I wanted to make sure that we were all on together so I could say how grateful I am, because people don't understand. People, I have a lot of friends from home who will say, when you bring your play, I'm like, they don't understand that you don't bring a play. I'm a playwright, and I need a director, and I need a producer. I need someone who's going to produce it. So, in both of you, with your institutional power to be able to greenlight a production, I'm grateful to be able to that has happened. Otherwise, I would just be, you know, doing my act during my class, right? my other plays. And it really means a lot. So I think people don't really have a sense of how theater works, and it's really not about. There's a lot of plays that Valenicia should be in that have been written that people aren't producing, and also a lot of people don't realize that these 3 plays are. They will read them and realize how good they are, and they're good because of the working with you guys as directors. But also, they'll realize that. There are stories that they're not getting access to in hearing, and the fact that these 3 plays have not left Austin yet in terms of productions. It's a lot about American theater, and I think that there's a lot of real push right now since since the uprisings around the murder of African American people by law enforcement. That is a physical death that cannot be changed. And it's also important for us to think about the cultural death that happens every time Black creators make work that cannot be put into the world because they don't own the means of production. They don't own, there's nowhere, no one African-American can greenlight of a piece in Austin that has a physical place. They have to rent a place to do something. But it means something very different to have a Black theater in Austin. And I came up in having places like Lorraine Hansberry in San Francisco, and I fly, because I have research money now, to places like Minnesota, to Penumbra, and I've had the opportunity to have my work done by Crossroads Theater, African American theaters, who their whole season is African American plays and playwrights. And
not just in February, Lisa. They don't just do a play in February.
Yes, but we're eating each other alive and trying to see each other's shows, but also having not just the one show for a season. And what does it mean to and have a broader sense? And Marcus McCorder, who's not on, who's another director who I've worked with here in Austin, who's head of theater at the Austin Community College, say, I'd love to have at some point a Lisa Thompson season. And I'm like, oh, say more, say less, homie, say less. But it's not just me. I mean, there's incredible playwrights that whose work needs to be done, and I'm really excited to work cross-generationally with. So excited! I wanted to have Simone be part of this conversation. In India, my new queen of my heart and life, to be here talking about what it means, institutional structures that have to change in order for Black playwrights and other kinds of artists to have their work done, so we can feed the community that is hungry and living a cultural death in many ways. Being taken, the stories are absent. And I think about what my son's exposed to in the school system here in Austin, and in terms of the arts as well, what it's missing. So I just wanted to say that. So thank you to Laura and for Rudy for seeing me, particularly with Monroe, because it was a play that I was always, that's the first play I wrote. And I did mention on Instagram and on Twitter that there'll be secrets revealed. So Monroe, and you'll see if you read the production history, the history of development of that play. I wrote it as a graduate student at Stanford, and in my class was Sherry Moraga. And one of the things we had to do with the play was actually cast it and have a reading. And I cast this undergraduate who was driving me crazy, wanted to be in it, and his girlfriend, who's now his wife, and the young undergrad was Sterling K. Brown, and beautiful, gorgeous wife, Ryan Bath. And they and I will say this, because I know how to pick them, because I chose Cohen Domingo for director for my first Single Black Female book. This is before that, and when Sterling, I knew then he would be a star. He ate that role up. I was like, oh my, because I was like, it's like Sterling, and I was like, oh my God. And Ryan, she was the first Viola, and she killed that too. So I have been fortunate, and also my professor, I want to give a shout out to Harry J. Elam Jr., who is the new president of Occidental, my dissertation advisor, who was a scholar artist, and he's a director, and who came to Single Black Female, instead of telling me, hunker down and get that dissertation done, looked at me after it was done, he said, you can do this instead. And I was like, no, I like food. Okay, but I just wanted to give a shout out to him for encouraging me and seeing me and allowing me to continue on this path. So I wanted to, think about the people that have been there to help ease all this forward. So that's it. Sorry.
I wanted to say something really quickly, if I could. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
We had talked about before of having Lisa in the rehearsal rooms and how open she is to change or discussion about her scripts. But I also wanted to say that it is really affirming for Black female creatives to have someone like Lisa in the room who also understands the power of no and says, no, I don't want to do that. No, this is exactly what my story is. And conviction in her work and in what she wants to say specifically. And I just found that process of working with her so affirming of like, no is a complete sentence. And that's okay to say that. And that you can say it with kindness, and you can say it because you know that you understand your power and your worth. And I think that that is huge. And when we talk about institutional changes, that is what we should want to see in these rooms and classrooms and rehearsal rooms, is that a Black woman can say, no, this isn't going to work, and people listen to that. And I feel like she brings that energy into the room, and it's so, so important, and it inspires me, and I'm sure anyone who has been in that space to say, okay, in my next room I'm going to be in, I know that I can say no because I have the power of conviction of my ideas and what I know to be true and what to be right. So.
Absolutely. And thank you for jumping in and clarifying that. And I just, super fast. And then I want to welcome Bonnie, but I want to make sure I will take a no from Lisa B. Thompson any day of the week, because I know that it's the right call. As a director, my job isn't to write the play. The playwright's job is to write the play. My job is to get the play on stage and, as best I can. And there are dramaturgical ideas, and I come from that background. So I'm a little more of a dramaturgical director than some people are. That's me. But absolutely, although a no from Lisa B. Thompson doesn't feel like a no Does that make sense? Like, it still feels like, honey, I hear you, and it's the right, I understand, and it's sweet that you had that idea, but that's not what we're gonna do right now. And I just kind of
Bless your heart. Bless your heart.
bless your heart. Yeah. So yeah. And I want to thank again India and Simone for being here today. Simone, I've been so excited to watch what New Manifest Theater has been doing for the past couple of years to kind of come on the scene, and with it's just been great. It's been great to watch what's happening there. And India, and I won't go down this too much, but India is in a private Facebook group that I'm also in, and I sometimes watch her with such kindness and gentleness sort of lead people back on a path. It's like maybe you want to go over here, little sheep. and so thank you for doing that. Bonnie, thank you so much for being here. This is Bonnie Cullum, who is the artistic director of the Vortex Theater, which has produced. They were co-producers for the Mamalogues and produced Underground. So one of the earliest champions of Lisa's work in Austin. How? What are your thoughts on Lisa's plays?
Well, thanks everybody. I'm sorry I had to come late. I was on this big international thing. When I first
Bonnie is very important and had to be on a big, huge international thing. But it's cool that she's able to be here now.
We were discussing racism in our spiritual practices. So I'm just saying, it was like, woo. Okay. So when I first read Underground, I was like, we have to do this play. And as I've been thinking about it ever since I saw the rebroadcast of it, I just still feel like we have to do this play. So I feel like you're writing work that is compelling in the now. And I'm hoping that it can really, that this collection for you can really take fire, and that people will start to produce your work all over the country, because that's what should be happening. These are the stories we need to be hearing. This is the truths that we need to be exploring right now, and have been for the last however many years. I think it's critical that you are getting the recognition that you deserve, and I hope it just leads to lots and lots of productions of your plays. It really, Underground, I thought, was just astounding. I think it's the only show that had an extended run in Vortex history that sold out every performance. Every single performance.
Wow. And the Vortex has been around for 20 years, right?
30, yeah.
30.
So I'm saying, 1 week things and guest artists and Annie Sprinkle, okay, that sells out. But to have a play with an extended run sell out every single show, every Thursday, every Sunday, every Wednesday, every show, that's just, you hold the record. So there you go.
Underground was phenomenal. I was just so moved by that play. And Mark, I thought you were going to explode on that stage. It was just incredible. I found myself just sitting there like this, waiting for the next thing to happen. It was great. Yeah, it was wonderful. I wanted to see it again. I was just like, I need to see this again.
Thank you very much, Melody. I just want to share one thing. I've been sitting on this for like 30 minutes. Val said something that made me think and really appreciate. I often play, classical figures, classical leads, historical figures, but Underground is the first time that I've really got to play an authentic hero that's a version of myself. I think it's my higher self and the way that I feel about things. And obviously I'm not Kyle, but knowing and being able to see myself on the stage in the rebroadcast, and knowing that there are other actors who are more talented than me that should be playing this on Broadway in Hollywood, getting Oscars for this role. I will do everything in my power to make sure that Underground gets produced again somewhere else, even if I'm not in it, because that character speaks to the last 400 years of American history. It really does. And I want to thank you personally for that, Lisa. So.
Thank you. A lot of folks don't realize Mark is another on this Zoom as another double offender, being in 2 of my shows.
Oh yeah.
And, I first saw him. I don't know if Laura knows this, on the stage of the Austin Playhouse. Yeah, it's on the page. And I was like, and who brought me my date was Rudy Ramirez.
Right. I remember that meeting.
This guy. He's always got. He's at 800 worlds he's controlling. Actually, some people suspect that Rudy is actually God, and might be true. But I came and was blown away, and my son attended that as well and saw you, and it was an amazing night. And I, watching you in Underground gave me such joy. You and Dashay, the ping pong of that show, but also your performance in Monroe meant a lot to me. So much like Huck, you had a small role, but pivotal to the narrative. And I wanted you to talk a little bit about that, if you don't mind. Sorry, I'm taking over, Laura.
Seymour is the uncle that everybody knows. He jumps off the page, and he's not the devil. This is my version of Seymour. Seymour is not the devil. He has devilish tendencies, but he speaks. It's broken down into 2 scenes. The first one is very much a scene where he's, going opposite the 2 main characters, and he's a little bit of comic relief. But he has this moment in the second half of the play that is so full of truth and so full of deep advice that, Lisa was able to capture that in a couple of pages. And even from the reading to the actual production, it changed, because she tailors, like Val said, she tailors the character to the people who are working on it. And, I just have to thank you for, I will be the second spear carrier from the left in a Lisa B. Thompson play. I will do it. You call, I'll be there. So.
I write for all of you, for all of us, and I'm excited about the plays that are to come. But these 3 have been was striking to me. Someone said this. I'm like, Laura, you asked, has there ever been a collection of plays that all had world premieres in Austin? And I'm not sure there is, but no matter what, I'm sure there wasn't one by a San Franciscan Black woman.
Although I really don't know that there have been that had their 3 world premiere productions in Austin, Texas, gathered in a play collection. I'll be happy to be called out on that, but right now I'm going to stand by that claim. All right, we're about wrapped up with our happy hour here, but I want to invite everyone on this call to a lightning round. Yeah, also cheers. Let's toast. I don't have much left in this glass, but let's say cheers to Lisa and this play collection. And I'm so glad that you're in Austin and this book is in the world, and to more people getting introduced to your wonderful work.
You're here.
Thank
All right.
you.
This is a lightning round. Anybody have anything they've ever wanted to ask Lisa or anyone else on this call? Short answer.
I have a question.
Yes.
What in the world are you on when you write these plays? Because I'm thinking, what made her think of this, especially Underground? Is it and you know what, this might be a personal conversation one day, but I just want to know what it is that inspires you to write these different varieties of plays. What are you thinking? Did something just happen and then it popped up? But you don't have to try to answer all of that now unless you just got it in about 3 or 4 words, but I would love to know.
Yeah. Actually, I did. Underground, what inspired that was living through the LA uprisings in '92, and having to sit with that for some decades before to bring that out to the world. The fact that we're going through uprising again and that people are seeing the value of this play, I think makes a lot of sense. Monroe was based on me growing up in San Francisco and having 2 parents who met in California who were from different parts of Louisiana, as Huck taught me to say, and thinking about what made them think, not Chicago, not Detroit, DC, New York, New Jersey, hell no, California, let's go there. How did we what's the Black story? Because we don't see the Black story of California very often in terms of the migration. And then for the Mamalogues, it was being a Black middle class mother and trying to, and then in the course of the time I've been a mother, becoming unpartnered and navigating people, being unintelligible to people of all ilks about who I am, and also enjoying that, but also wanting to speak to some of those people, have a shorthand for what I had, the rage I feel in a PTA meeting, or at Nordstrom, or even at an African American bourgeois event, and they're like, "Where's your husband?" Oh God, she's a danger. Call security.
Will Johnson.
So that's what. Yeah. So it's just taking what I'm experiencing and wanting to have a conversation with the rest of the world about this. This is all done before Twitter and Facebook and social media. So there's a way to people are having these conversations that are kind of going away, as opposed to putting it somewhere that can be continued. So that's long answer. Oh, Rudy.
So I think this is the best question that I think I can ask is, as someone who has been in Austin as a writer, as a creator of plays, but also as a theater goer, and someone who has lived in and been a part of so many theater scenes around the country, I want to ask you, what do you think is Austin's greatest strength? And what is the next challenge that we need to take on as a community to make us better?
The tremendous, I say this to everybody across the country, the artists here are unrivaled. Being on both coasts and middle everywhere. And that's why, and it breaks my heart when people have to leave to do the next thing. So I think having the next thing be here. Filmmakers are coming here to shoot. There's a reason why we can't make Austin a destination place for theater. It just needs to, people need to start thinking of it more seriously, and even watching how the artist funds are being distributed. That it's all musicians and theaters. It's a bald-headed stepchild with no shoes. It's like, hello, support the theater makers so that they can do the work. So support our currently standing theaters, and I would love to see new theaters manifest themselves and have a physical space to produce work. And I'd like to see the Harbor be a more responsive place to the Black community and to Black theater artists. So we need institutional, I don't want you to tell me Black Lives Matter. Boo, you're going to have to show me.
Yeah.
I'm 32. I'm not 42, and I'm gonna stop right there. Okay, so so you're gonna have to do a little better, Austin, with demonstrating that, and it's not a one-off. I want to see a institutional changes that allow for us to have spaces that are responsive to the work that we're doing, because people are brilliant and amazing, and they deserve to have production values that represent that. We deserve to have wages that represent that, because I can't tell the tuition folks when my son goes to college in a few years that here's my review that I got from so-and-so. They're not going to take that for payment. And if you think about reparations, which is what Underground about and what I believe in, somebody gonna give some stuff up because it's ill-gotten gains. Boo. We gotta kind of really come to grips with some of that. And until we do, we're not gonna be able to do what Rudy's asking, which is like take to the next level.
And that takes more conversations and collaboration. I really, really feel that that's important, because I know that there are some, for lack of a better term, quote unquote, money people in Austin who would support, but we got to have the real conversations with these people, and we have to have more producers to produce these productions and to move towards having this, what am I trying to say, structure of a place to have our productions. I just think it's a lack of conversations. And I'm optimistic enough to believe that there are more people who want to support than not. Now, maybe I'm just a dreamer. I don't know, but that's what I'm going to believe. That's my story. I'm sticking to.
Well, can I also say that it's just a shame that the Boyd Vance Theater at the Carver Community Center Library has not been a home for Black artists since the death of Boyd Vance and Pro Arts Collective. It's just a shame and a crime on so many levels. And I have said that forever, but the city holds the purse strings on that, and it doesn't seem to be able to be broken. And
but let me say this. But listen, my daughter is the cultural arts and educational specialist for the Carver Museum, and she is the theater tech person for that theater. And she is definitely has a voice now. She's young, but she's there, and she's speaking about what you just said. And so that's another person that we need to have conversations with. I'm not just saying it because she's my daughter, but I know, but she is my daughter. So she's got a voice, and she doesn't mind telling you she's got one. So we have to have those kind of conversations. Numbers are important, and showing up and getting in people's faces that's important. So with what you said, I would suggest that many people have conversations with Cicely, that's her name, Cicely Fully Loved, have conversations with her about the Boyd Vance, because she is definitely on the same page with what we're talking about. And it makes it, she hasn't been there maybe just a year now, but she's been there long enough to know what you said is true.
Simone and I were just at some meetings, so what's happening, y'all? Do not worry. We and many are on it, and we will get with Cicely. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna let, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let Lisa have the last word here, and then I'm gonna stop the live stream. Thank you all so much for coming out today. Celebrating this book publication has been wonderful this past week. I really enjoyed is not the right word. These are really tough times in so many ways right now, and so I look for anything that brings joy, you know, kind of go to that light. So I'm grateful for Lisa for giving all of us the opportunity to do that. Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen right now and show everyone this. Hi, this is the book, and this is how you can get it. So thank you all for coming out today. And I look forward to the day where this isn't the only play collection that we're speaking about in a couple months, where every month I'm talking about new plays being published about productions that you need to go see. Yeah. Oh, hi. All right, I'm throwing it to you to sign us off here.
There, say hi.
Hi.
This is my son. Yes, who's we are freshmen this year in high school. And who's been dragged to first production I had. He was 6 months old. It seemed like when I was off Broadway, and he was in the arms of Valerie Smith, who's now president of Swarthmore College. During that final rehearsal, and from that moment to now, I am really honored to have a audience member that means something different. His birth changed my sense of myself as an artist, and what you're black enough, okay, and my sense of myself as an artist, and what my legacy was meant to be, and how important it was to create work that he could be proud of and be a great audience member. But I do remember him sitting falling asleep during Underground, and when I woke him up, he says, "Is it over?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Thank God." He keeps me humble. So I think that's the most important thing, is to have somebody who also is over you and keeps you really grounded. So honestly, I'm really honored to be in community with all of you and all the folks who are on the chat for YouTube and who've texted during this, and who are on Instagram. And I'm going to jump on IG and do a little craziness, because I got all dressed up and prettied like it's opening night, and it is opening night for Underground Monroe and the Mamalogues, 3 plays, and I'm just honored to have support, because I couldn't have pulled this off without Laura and the Austin Playhouse. And thank you so much for hosting.
It is our complete pleasure. Thank you all so much. I'm going to stop the live stream now. Thank you all who joined us for celebrating this play publication and celebrating the artistry of Lisa B. Thompson. Thank you.
Thank you.